Welcome to MMA News Official.
During the press conference for UFC 315, Dana White officially confirmed that the upcoming title fight between Jack Della Maddalena and Belal Muhammad will have major implications for the future of the UFC championship picture. According to White, the outcome of this bout will directly influence whether Ilia Topuria will be granted an opportunity to face Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title. This announcement has sent a wave of excitement through the MMA community, as it connects three of the most talented and informed fighters across two divisions in a potential chain of blockbuster matchups. Jack Della Maddalena, known for his precise striking and relentless pace, is stepping into the biggest fight of his career. A win for him could not only earn him a world title but also open the door for a monumental crossover fight involving Ilia Topuria. On the other hand, Belal Muhammad, who has been waiting for his title shot for a long time, enters this fight with a sense of determination and urgency. His consistent performances and well-rounded skill set make him one of the toughest challengers in the division. Dana White emphasized that this fight represents more than just a title clash. It will determine the trajectory of several divisions. He explained that the UFC is closely monitoring how the results align with upcoming title plans, particularly for Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. White highlighted that Topuria's rise in the featherweight division has been nothing short of spectacular, and the UFC is now exploring possibilities for him to move up and challenge Makhachev, depending on the outcome of UFC 315. Fans and analysts are already speculating about what this could mean for the UFC landscape. If Jack Della Maddalena wins impressively, it could pave the way for a fresh set of matchups that shake up both the welterweight and lightweight divisions. However, if Belal Muhammad secures the victory, his long-awaited recognition as a champion could lead to a stable title reign and possibly force Topuria to defend his own belt before moving up in weight. In short, UFC 315 is shaping up to be one of the most important events of the year. With Dana White's confirmation, the stakes are higher than ever. Every punch, every round, and every decision in the cage could determine the future of three elite fighters, Jack Della Maddalena, Belal Muhammad, and Ilia Topuria, as well as the fate of the UFC's championship hierarchy. Israel Adesanya and Jack Della Maddalena recently discussed Islam Makhachev's grappling skills in a new video on Adesanya's YouTube channel, offering an in-depth breakdown of what makes the lightweight champion so dominant and how his style could be challenged. The conversation began with Della Maddalena sharing his belief that Makhachev might underestimate his grappling ability. He explained that Islam's usual approach of taking opponents down and controlling them on the ground may not be as effective against him. According to Della Maddalena, his technique and awareness on the mat could disrupt Islam's rhythm, forcing the champion to adjust mid-fight. Adesanya echoed this sentiment, suggesting that Islam may not be able to hold Della Maddalena down as easily as he has done with others. Both fighters pointed out that maintaining constant movement and urgency on the ground is key to neutralizing Makhachev's top control. Adesanya emphasized that when Islam gets on top, most fighters tend to freeze or hesitate, which allows him to advance position and apply pressure. In his view, staying active, even at the risk of giving up a dominant position, is essential to escaping and creating space. He mentioned that Alexander Volkanovski and Arman Tsarukyan both used the butterfly hook effectively against Islam to defend takedowns and create scrambles. Adesanya further explained that Islam's opponents often struggle because they fail to anticipate his transitions. He highlighted Volkanovski's success in staying a few steps ahead of Makhachev during their fight by constantly moving and using the butterfly guard to reset positions. Adesanya added that using techniques like the butterfly hook requires precision, timing, and especially urgency. He believes that Islam may be surprised by how well prepared and dynamic Della Maddalena will be once the fight hits the mat. Della Maddalena also praised Arman Tsarukyan's performance against Makhachev, noting that Tsarukyan's wrestling background allowed him to compete well in grappling exchanges. He predicted that in his own fight with Islam, there would come a point, perhaps by the third or fourth takedown attempt, when Islam realizes that he cannot keep him down. Once that moment comes, Della Maddalena believes he will gain momentum and begin to turn the fight in his favor. Additionally, Della Maddalena addressed questions about his weight cut, confirming that cutting to welterweight is relatively easy for him since he walks around at approximately 191 pounds. However, he clarified that dropping to lightweight would be unrealistic, especially with the fight just 2 weeks away. Both fighters concluded the discussion by speculating about how Makhachev will handle the size and strength difference at welterweight, setting the stage for an intriguing clash between skill and power. Reinier de Ridder has revealed concerning news about his health following his recent loss to Brendan Allen, a defeat that shocked the MMA world. The bout took place on October 18 and ended in dramatic fashion when de Ridder's corner was forced to throw in the towel after the 4th round, as he could barely make it back to his stool. Many fans initially believed it was a matter of exhaustion or injury, but in a new interview with Submission Radio, de Ridder opened up about ongoing health struggles that have persisted since the fight. In the interview, de Ridder admitted that he is still not feeling fully recovered. He explained that even simple activities like walking up a flight of stairs leave him short of breath, raising concerns that something more serious could be going on. When asked about whether doctors had determined the cause of the problem, de Ridder clarified that it is not a virus, dismissing earlier speculation that he might be suffering from an infection. However, he avoided giving full details, saying that if he were to reveal what it really was, he might never get a rematch. This cryptic response has sparked speculation among fans and analysts about the true nature of his condition. De Ridder further mentioned that his medical tests showed some irregularities in his blood work and that he is still waiting for more information before taking any further steps. He explained that this is not the first time he has dealt with similar issues, recalling that he experienced the same kind of physical struggles during his second fight with Anatoly Malikin. At that time, he believed the problem had been fixed, but it appears to have resurfaced. De Ridder emphasized that he is focused on addressing whatever is wrong before returning to competition, expressing determination to get back to full health and perform at his best again. Fans have since been debating what might have caused his physical decline during and after the fight. Some believe he may have been suffering from a hidden illness or even a partial lung collapse, while others argue that the intense grappling exchanges against Allen could have simply drained his cardio. Regardless of the cause, de Ridder's comments suggest that the issue is serious enough to affect his daily life, not just his performance in the cage. Despite the setback, de Ridder remains optimistic about his recovery and future in MMA. He stated that he intends to fix the underlying problem and come back stronger than ever. His openness about his health concerns has drawn support from fans and fellow fighters alike, who are hoping to see him return to the Octagon once he's fully recovered and ready to compete at the elite level once again. The UFC's parent company, TKO Group Holdings, recently announced its financial results for the 3rd quarter, revealing that the organization's revenue has declined compared to the same period last year. According to the official financial report, the UFC's revenue dropped by approximately 8%, which amounts to a decrease of $29.7 million year-over-year. At first glance, these numbers appear concerning. However, TKO clarified that the dip in revenue is largely due to the UFC hosting one fewer pay-per-view event during this quarter compared to the previous year. When factoring in this difference, analysts noted that the organization was actually on track to meet, and potentially exceed, its projected earnings. TKO explained in its report that the decrease in media rights, production, and content revenue primarily stems from scheduling one less numbered event during the quarter. The absence of that event also contributed to a decline in live event and hospitality revenue, as ticket sales naturally fell without the additional card. Despite this, TKO emphasized that the UFC's overall business model remains strong, with consistent pay-per-view buys, robust media partnerships, and continued international growth. The company's statement further elaborated that the decrease in partnership and marketing revenue was linked to comparisons against the previous year, which included UFC 306, an event held at the Sphere in Las Vegas that became the highest-grossing event in UFC history. That milestone event featured unprecedented sponsorship deals, including the UFC's first-ever title partner sale, which inflated last year's numbers and made this year's quarter appear weaker by comparison. Without a comparable mega event in Q3 of this year, the financial decline was statistically predictable rather than indicative of any long-term problem. TKO's executives also highlighted that the UFC continues to maintain strong relationships with global broadcasters, sponsors, and streaming platforms. They noted that renewals and new partnership agreements have offset much of the lost revenue, ensuring stable profitability going forward. The organization remains one of the most financially successful sports properties in the world, supported by consistent pay-per-view interest and expanding international markets. In summary, while the UFC's revenue for the third quarter showed an 8% decline on paper, the figures are not as alarming as they initially appear. The drop can be attributed primarily to the lack of one major pay-per-view event and the absence of an exceptionally high-grossing show like UFC 306. Overall, TKO's report reflects a temporary fluctuation rather than a sustained downturn, and the UFC's financial outlook remains strong heading into the next quarter. Jon Jones has finally broken his silence on the recent heavyweight clash between Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane, offering his thoughts on the matchup and taking the opportunity to once again critique Aspinall's skills. Over the past few weeks, Jones has been trolling Aspinall over the controversial eye poke incident that occurred at UFC 321. Following the event, Jones changed his profile picture on social media to one featuring an eye patch and even appeared at his promotion's weigh-ins with a horse wearing an eye patch, a mood that drew both laughter and criticism from fans. Despite the ongoing jokes, Jones had not made any formal comments about the fight, until now. In a preview clip released from an upcoming episode of the *No Scripts podcast, Jones addressed the fight directly, giving a mixed assessment of Aspinall's performance. While he acknowledged that Aspinall is a talented athlete, Jones didn't hold back his criticism, claiming that the British heavyweight is far less skilled than many believe. He stated, "Tom's a great athlete, but I do feel like he's a one-trick pony. I believe that his wrestling and jiu-jitsu are incredibly overrated. He has a beautiful 1-2, but that's really about it." Jones went on to explain that he studied Aspinall's fighting patterns during his last bout and felt that there wasn't much depth to his overall game. Jones then turned his attention to Ciryl Gane, suggesting that Gane was actually in control of the fight for most of the time it lasted. He described Gane as confident, fluid, and in rhythm, stating, "Gane looked like he was getting warmed up. His hands were down, he was shaking his shoulders, bouncing around, and landing the jab. He busted Tom open and was completely comfortable." According to Jones, Aspinall struggled to land clean shots and looked overwhelmed by Gane's movement and striking precision. In one of the more controversial moments of the interview, Jones claimed that Aspinall appeared to be looking for a way out, and ultimately took it. This comment has already sparked debate among fans, with some agreeing that Aspinall's performance was disappointing, while others argue that Jones is intentionally downplaying his potential challenger's abilities. Jones's remarks have added more fuel to an already heated rivalry. The two heavyweights have been circling each other for months, with Aspinall repeatedly calling for a unification bout. Jones, however, has continued to deflect those challenges, often ridiculing Aspinall online rather than engaging in serious discussion about a potential fight. With this latest interview, Jones has made it clear that he does not see Aspinall as a legitimate threat. By downplaying his wrestling and jiu-jitsu while emphasizing Gane's dominance, Jones has reignited one of the most talked about rivalries in the heavyweight division. As fans await his full appearance on *No Scripts, many are already speculating whether these comments are part of a deeper psychological strategy to unsettle Aspinall, or simply another example of Jones's mastery at keeping the spotlight on himself.